to make tiramisu. The first thing that you'll need to do is prepare some coffee to let it cool. My husband has nicely prepared about half a liter of espresso right here. The second thing that I like to do is separate my eggs. You will need 4 egg yolks and 4 egg whites. You can set the egg whites aside after you've separated them. At this point, you should beat about 100 grams of sugar into the 4 egg yolks. Sometimes I use just a little extra sugar to make my tiramisu a little bit sweeter. After I set aside the egg yolks and sugar mixture, I begin to make my first layer of ladyfingers dipped in coffee, placed in the bottom of around a 9 by 13 pan. It's also nice to use a glass bottom pan so you can see the prettiness of the tiramisu when it's done, but today I will use a disposable container. The ladyfingers should not be too soaked. Dip them slightly so you can arrange them in the pan. Traditional recipes call for about 400 grams of mascarpone cheese. Sometimes you can't always find mascarpone cheese, and I have discovered that if I use about 200 milliliters of heavy whipping cream whipped and add about 200 grams of Philadelphia whipped cream cheese, I make a nice blend that gives a nice mild flavor to the tiramisu. So right now I'm going to whip the cream and then add in the whipped Philadelphia cream cheese. Whipping cream is whipped a lot. I add about 200 grams of the Philadelphia cream cheese. A small container has about 226 grams. I won't add the whole container because I like my tiramisu to be a little bit more rich in the whipping cream than the whipped cream cheese. And I will whip this together until it is homogeneous, or all the same. To this mixture, I will add the egg yolk and sugar mixture that I made before. I can lightly mix this, and I don't necessarily need to use the beaters. It will turn a nice yellowy creamy color. So after you've mixed the Philadelphia whipped cream mixture with the egg yolk sugar mixture, you'll need to have clean beaters so that you can bring the egg whites to stiff peaks. The egg whites into the yellow mixture we made earlier with the whipped cream cheese, the egg yolks, and the sugar. We're going to gently send the egg whites into our yellow mixture. And we're going to gently fold with long strokes from back to forward to make our mixture. We don't want to stir it or beat it lest we break the peaks and the stiffness of the egg whites. This will form a nice fluffy mixture. You want to do this until it's about homogeneous. Doing gently, not to stir. A nice creamy mixture to pour over our ladyfingers. Now that I've folded this mixture together, I'm going to pour half of it over my coffee-soaked lady fingers. And this is about half. Just judge until they're nicely covered. A little bit more, a little bit less, doesn't matter, as long as you have enough to do the rest. So I'm going to bring it over, and I will gently cover my lady fingers all the way to the edge. I need a little bit more here. Again, it's all going to go into tiramisu, some on the top, some on the bottom, so it really doesn't matter if you are a little bit off. You want to cover it all the way to the edge. A little bit more here. Again, not working it too much. Okay, now we're going to set this aside and repeat with a layer of the espresso soaked lady fingers. Again, I dip them, not too wet, and then I put them in my pan, sugar side up. In our second layer of lady fingers, we add the rest of our cream mixture. Making sure to evenly distribute so we can cover all of the lady fingers. Your layers will even out because this is going to rest overnight in your refrigerator, or at least for a few hours. It's much better if it rests overnight. It gets nice, a lot more solid, easy to cut and serve to your friends and guests. Okay, nice even layer all over everything. And we're ready for the finishing touches. The last touch on the lady fingers, on the tiramisu, is the cocoa. I like to make my life easy and a little bit less cleanup by putting a piece of parchment paper underneath my tiramisu. Now it's time when we add the cocoa powder to the top of our tiramisu. I like to sprinkle on cocoa powder using a strainer, and I just tap it with a spoon to thickly cover the whole entire tiramisu. I put the parchment paper down so I don't have to worry about any cocoa exiting my pan and ending up cover the entire tiramisu with a thin layer of cocoa, and get ready to put it in the refrigerator. Once you have finished spreading the cocoa out over your tiramisu, it is ready to be put in the refrigerator, covered with some plastic wrap or a cover for your pan. It is best if it stays overnight in the refrigerator. At a minimum, it should stay 3 to 4 hours. But I find that if you make it the afternoon before your guests are to arrive and it stays overnight and the rest of the day in the refrigerator, it cuts up and serves up much nicer. And I hope you enjoy making and eating tiramisu with your friends and family.